Good evening and welcome to the player draft for the Fly 2023, the UK's biggest and best National Sixes lacrosse league. Over the course of the draft, we'll be finding out a little bit more about the makeup of the 8 teams competing at this third edition of the Fly starting in May. The Fly Draft 2023 is the third stage of the player selection process for this year's competition, and the next stage at which each head coach has the opportunity to select players for their roster and have an influence on the makeup of their squads. Following the team icon and protected player announcements, the women's teams already have 4 players selected, with the men's teams having 3. With the Fly 2023 taking place over 3 separate game days in May and June, this year we'll see the expansion of each squad from 12 to 15 players, with head coaches able to select 10 players for each match day squad. This is to ensure the highest level of competition across the 3 dates and give coaches the opportunity to switch things up across game weeks. So let's go through a few of the draft rules. During the draft, our women's head coaches will make 6 player selections, while our men's head coaches will make 7, taking each squad to an eventual total of 10 players. Each competition has an available player pool from which the head coaches will make each of their team selections. And the order of the picks is as follows. The team who finished in 4th place at the Fly last year will receive the first pick, then 3rd place, 2nd place, and finally 1st place. The next round of selections will then run in the reverse order, starting with the team who finished 1st in 2022. Each team will have 45 seconds to make their pick, with this sequence continuing until all selections have been made in each of the competitions. I'm joined here by the head coaches for each team, as well as Hustle Women's assistant coach, Georgie Hurt, who'll be making the picks in place of head coach Evie Stevens. So without further ado, let's start the Fly Draft 2023. We'll begin with the first picks in the men's competition, starting with Forge, who missed out on 3rd place last year after defeat to Swift in the 3rd place game. Their coaches for this year are head coach Connor Dockery, switching over to the men's team for 2023 after leading Forge women to the title last year, and his European Box Lacrosse Championship winning assistant coach Andy Downing, assistant with Hustle Men in 2022. Connor Dockery for Forge Men, who have you chosen as your first pick?
So the first pick of the 2023 Fly season is someone who we think is going to have a massive part this season. Like all good things, we like to start from the back. So our first pick is Jack Allen.
The first pick for Forge Men is Jack Allen, who played in goal for England under-20s at the under-20s World Championship last summer. He's also committed to Ohio State University for 2024. Connor, why have you chosen Jack as your first pick?
I think you hit the nail on the head there. He's very experienced with international play from the summer. He had a fantastic performance, and everyone in England and the UK kept an eye on him. I believe he's just somebody that we wanted to build, as we said earlier, build from the back. And he's a top class goalie, and we're looking forward to having him on Team Forge.
The next team to make their first pick is Swift Men, who finished 3rd in 2022 thanks to a victory over Forge. They're led by head coach Ravi K. Sitlani, moving into the head coach role after 2 seasons as assistant across the men's and women's competitions. He'll be joined by Chloe Waterston as his assistant coach, who was assistant for Rise Women last year. Ravi K. Sitlani for Swift Men, who is your first pick?
First pick for Swift Men would be number 2, Dan Watson.
So the first pick for Swift Men is Dan Watson, who played for Forge in 2021 and also won gold at the 2022 Box Euros last summer. Ravi, what's the thinking behind picking Dan first?
Dan's a finisher, and for me, that's what we're going to need to go against these goalies here. And also someone who is an incredible team member, and we're going to build a team at Swift. So to have Dan on board is going to be a big part of that.
Over to Hustle Men now for their first pick. They narrowly missed out on their first The Fly title after a hard-fought final last year. Their coaches this year are head coach Sam Patterson, who makes his return to Hustle after a year away, and his assistant coach Kieran Pegram Milner, who was Swift Women assistant in 2022. Sam Patterson for Hustle Men. Who is your first pick for the Fly 2023?
Hustle would like to select their first pick, Hugo Peel.
The first pick for Hustle Men is Hugo Peel, who played a starring role for England at the Under-20 World Championships. Age just 16, he scored 6 goals in that competition. Sam, what do you think Hugo will add to your team?
Knowing Hugo very well, obviously coached him from a very young age, but also play with him as well. I know the talent he can bring to our team. I think he's made for sixes. I think his offensive prowess in the Under-20s World Cup was on show at such a young age. So I think he's got a bright future, hopefully both for GB and for England.
And our final men's first pick goes to Rise Men, who are once again the reigning champions after defeating Hustle in last year's final. They're led in 2023 by head coach Erica Erb, who was on the coaching team for British Lacrosse ahead of last summer's World Games, and her assistant coach, Elliot Pugh. Erica Erb for Rise Men, who is your first pick?
With the fourth pick in the 2023 draft, Rise Men would like to select Drew Bickerton.
So the first pick for Rise Men is attacker Drew Bickerton, who also featured for England at the Under-20 World Championship last summer. He also plays for Mella Lacrosse Club. Erica, why have you picked Drew first?
We like Drew because he's a strong righty dodger. He's going to complement our current lefties that are already with Team Rise. We think he has a great tough shot, and he's just a strong overall attacker that is going to fit in very nicely with Team Rise.
Now we'll move on to the first picks for the women's competition, and we begin with Swift Women, who finished 4th last year. Swift are coached in 2023 by head coach Karina Bates, who returns to Swift Women after leading the team to the title back in 2021. She also remains unbeaten as a coach at the Fly, alongside her assistant coach, Gavin Donaldson, who has been an ever-present as an assistant coach at the Fly since its inception. Karina Bates for Swift Women, who is your first pick?
First pick for Team Swift is going to be Liv Thomas.
So the first pick for Swift Women is Liv Thomas, a midfielder who's also an accomplished England international. Karina, why have you chosen Liv as your first pick?
Liv's an undeniable athlete, a fierce competitor, and she's a really strong two-way midfielder, which is what I'm looking for. So happy to have Liv with Team Swift.
And next up, it's Rise Women, led by head coach Michael Molster. Michael has just taken up the role of England's senior women's head coach, as well as head of lacrosse at Exeter University. And he's joined by former Switzerland coach Steve McDermott as his assistant coach. They finished 3rd last year after defeating Swift in the 3rd place playoff. So Michael Molster for Rise Women, who is your first pick at the Fly 2023?
Rise's first pick is Anna Saunter.
The first pick for Rise Women is Anna Saunter, also a midfielder and an accomplished England international herself. Michael, what's the thinking behind picking Anna first?
Anna is a complete midfielder, plays very strong defense, is a go-to-goal offensive threat, and it's a perfect addition to the already strong 4 players we have on our roster.
Selecting 3rd, it's Hustle Women to make their first pick, led by returning head coach Evie Stevens, who's looking to go one step further than last year and win the Fly title in 2023. And her assistant coach, former Spain coach Georgie Hurt. Hustle finished 2nd at the Fly 2022 after losing to Forge in the final. Georgie Hurt for Hustle Women, who's your first pick?
The first pick for Hustle Women this year is going to be Chloe Chan.
So the first pick for Hustle Women this year is Chloe Chan. She's a defender, an England international as well. What do you think Chloe will add to your team, Georgie?
Yeah, well, we chose Chloe just because she's a formidable defender, a great athlete, and also has a knack at scoring goals at the other end. And the opportunity to unite her with her England teammate Emma Oakley in the sixes pitch was too good to pass up.
And our final first pick is by reigning champions in the women's competition, Forge. They defeated Hustle in the 2022 final, and their coaching team appointed for this year is head coach Alex Carnegie-Brown, who makes the switch from Hustle men this year, and assistant coach Amy Ratapana. Alex Carnegie-Brown for Forge Women, who is your first pick?
Our first pick this year is going to be Iona Dryden.
The first pick for Forge Women is Iona Dryden. She is a very good two-way midfielder. So, Alex, why have you chosen Iona as your first pick?
I think Iona brings a tons of experience being on the GB team in the Sixers from last summer at the World Games, and is a great two-way midfielder that brings a lot of creativity and also maturity. So looking forward to having her on our team.
And that's the first pick. So we'll move quickly on to the second round, where we're reversing the order, meaning we're starting with Rise Men. Their team icon was announced last week as European Box Lacrosse champion Ben Buchanan. So Rise Men, please name your second pick.
With the 5th pick in the draft, Rise Men select Midi Will Short.
The second pick for Rise Men is Will Shirt, who played for Hustle in 2021. He's another of the England players that played at the Under-20 World Championships and also won gold at the Under-20 Euros. Erica, what are the reasons behind picking Will as your second pick?
Elliot and I really like Will as a two-way midi. We think he's a utility player. He's a strong guy, and we think he's just going to be a really good asset for us to both push the transition, but also as a strong defender in a midfield sense.
Next to make their second pick is Hustle Men. Their team icon is the Fly 2021 champion, Alex Russell. So Hustle Men, who is your second pick?
With the second pick, we would like to pick Elliot Bickerton.
So the second pick for Hustle Men is Elliot Bickerton. He's an attacker, yet again, played for England at the Under-20s World Championships. He's got a gold medal at the 2019 Under-20 Euros as well. Sam, why have you chosen him as your second pick?
I know Elliot really, really well. Coach him here at NTU. I know what he can bring to the team. He's a lefty finisher. I think we need a lefty to balance our team out, and I think he's a great candidate to fill that spot.
After Hustle Men, it's Swift Men. Their team icon is European Box Lacrosse champion Albert Whitehead. Swift Men, please name your second pick.
Swift Men would like to pick number 18, Dan Jones, as a second pick.
So the second pick for Swift Men is Dan Jones, another of the England team to play at the Under-20 World Championship. He was also the tournament MVP, winning gold at the Under-20 Euros in 2019. How will Dan help your team at the Fly this year?
Knowing what I know about Dan, and I've coached him since he was a young man, he literally works well on both sides of the field. He's great defensively, and he definitely can go to goal. And after another year out in the States, I think he'll be a big asset to us.
And our final second pick for the men's teams is for Forge Men, whose team icon is England's European Box Lacrosse Championship winning captain, Tom Roach. Forge Men, who is your second pick?
Second pick for Team Forge is Lewis Alhage.
The second pick for Forge Men is Lewis Alhage. He was drafted by Swift in 2021 and scored the third most goals in the competition last year, scoring 16. What will Lewis bring to Forge this year?
We're very excited to have Lewis on the team. He'll bring lots of energy, hard work, and speaking to a lot of people in the background, they've all said you have to sign him. So we're absolutely delighted to have him on board.
Next up, it's the second picks for the women's teams, starting with Forge Women. Their team icon is top goal scorer from the Fly 2022, Ella Cohen. Forge Women, please name your second pick.
For our second pick, we're going to take Tilly Shires.
The second pick for Forge Women is Tilly Shires. She's a midfielder and an England international. What's the thinking behind picking Tilly?
And Tilly's an incredibly dynamic, explosive player, good at both ends of the field, definitely going to be good for goals and has got good speed. So looking forward to having her on board.
Next up, it's Hustle Women, whose team icon is goalkeeper Dylan Whittington. Hustle Women, who is your second draft pick?
So with Hustle Women's second pick, we are going to select Julie Wise.
The second pick for Hustle Women is Julie Wise. She's a left-handed attacker, also played for Rise at the Fly 2021 and Hustle as well at the Fly 2022. Why have you chosen Julie as your second pick?
Julie fills a bit of an attacking hole that we've got so far in our roster. And I think her leadership and talent on the sixes pitch will be a real asset to our team.
Now it's Rise Women's chance to make a second pick. Their team icon is England international Claire Farram. Rise Women, please name your second pick.
With our second pick, the Rise choose Alice Ripper.
The second pick for Rise Women is Alice Ripper. She's a midfielder who has played for Forge at the Fly 2021 and 2022. She's an England international who also plays for Hawks Lacrosse Club. What are your reasons for picking Alice?
One, I know Alice very well. You know, she's here at Exeter. See her play frequently. She's dynamic, size, speed. Can play solid defense, and she's definitely a go-to-goal player. And we are going to expect very good things from her.
And the final second pick of the day goes to Swift Women. Their team icon is Swift ever-present and former The Fly champion Anna Neville. Swift Women, who is your second pick?
Swift Women's second pick is going to be Zoe Dixon.
The second pick for Swift Women is Zoe Dixon. She's a midfielder who plays internationally for Scotland and was included in the 2022 World Championship squad. How will Zoe help your team at the Fly?
Zoe's a big game player. She had a huge tournament at the World Championships, and we're looking forward to her bringing more of that to Team Swift.
Now it's time for round 3, with the picking order being reversed once again. First up, it's Forge Men. Their protected players were announced last week as Ming Trin and Tom Bracegirdle, both European champions with the England box lacrosse team last summer. Forge Men, who is your third pick?
Our third pick is Jamie Powell.
The third pick for Forge Men is Jamie Powell, who was in the Great Britain Sixes training squad ahead of the World Games and also won gold with England at the Box Lacrosse European Championship. Time for Swift Men to make their third pick. Their protected players are Corey Carver, who returns to the Fly after making his debut in 2022, and European Box Lacrosse champion Luke Mills. Swift Men, please name your third pick.
Swift Men would like to pick number 15, Sam Burgess, for their third pick.
The third pick for Swift Men is Sam Burgess, who was on the winning Rise team last year, scoring 4 goals. After Swift Men, it's Hustle Men's turn. Their protected players are England internationals Hal Dwobeng and Dan Flisk. Hustle Men, who is your third pick?
With the third pick, we would like to select Nathan Wilkinson.
The third pick for Hustle Men is Nathan Wilkinson, who played for England at the Under-20 World Championship and also plays for Sheffield Steelers. Our final men's third pick goes to Rise Men. Rise's protected players are England stars Will Baxter and Will Prescott. Rise Men, please name your third pick.
Our third pick, Rise would like to select Tom Roper.
Third pick for Rise Men is Tom Roper, who won the Fly with Rise in 2021. He's also been a part of the England training squads and plays for Hillcroft Lacrosse Club. So let's move over to the third picks in the women's competition, and we'll start with the Swift Women. Swift Women's protected players are England's Emma Brown and Tors Anderson and Wales international Laura Warren. Swift Women, who is your third pick?
The third pick for Swift women is Zimeng Wu.
Due to an injury in the draft pool since the original recording of the draft, Karina Bates has now chosen two-way midfielder and Spencer player Millie Hughes as Swift's third pick. Next, it's Rise Women's turn to pick. Their protected players are Ella Malik, Millie Home, and Emma Savage. Rise Women, please name your third pick.
Our third pick is Zoe Lovabond.
The third pick for Rise Women is two-way midfielder Zoe Lovibond, who played for Forge at the Fly 2021 and 2022, and also plays for Exeter University. Next up, Hustle Women get their third pick. Hustle Women's protected players are Hannah Thurston, Emma Oakley, and Laura Beeman. Hustle Women, who is your third pick?
Our third pick is Chess Gray.
The third pick for Hustle Women is attacker Chess Gray, who also played for Hustle in 2021 and is a Scotland international. And the final women's third pick is by Forge Women. Their protected players are Liv Wimpenny, Sophia Wise, and goalkeeper Emily Chandler. Forge Women, please name your third pick.
Our third pick is Iona Westwood.
The third pick for Forge Women is defender Iona Westwood, who plays internationally for Scotland, as well as the Edinburgh Capital at club level. Now on to the fourth round of picks, starting with the men's competition and Rise Men. Rise Men, who is your fourth pick?
Our fourth pick, Rise Men would like to select Cam Major.
The fourth pick for Rise Men is Cameron Major, who played for the England seniors at the 2022 Home Internationals and plays his club lacrosse at Mellor Lacrosse Club. The next fourth pick goes to Hustle Men. Hustle Men, who is your fourth pick?
With the fourth pick, we would like to select Austin Holgate.
The fourth pick for Hustle Men is Austin Holgate, who was drafted to Team Swift last year and scored 8 goals at that competition. He's also played in the NCAA in Division 2, where he graduated in 2017. Next up, it's Swift Men. Swift Men, please name your fourth pick.
Feeling something here. Swift's fourth pick would be George Schonfeld.
Fourth pick for Swift Men is George Schonfeld. He's an attacker who plays for Mellor Lacrosse Club and has also been part of the England Academy setup. And the final fourth pick goes to Forge Men. Forge Men, who is your fourth pick at the Fly 2023?
Our fourth pick is Will Brown.
The fourth pick for Forge Men is Will Brown, who was drafted to Hustle last year, scoring 8 goals. He plays his club lacrosse at Heaton Mersey Lacrosse Club, and he's only just turned 18. Let's move on to the fourth picks in the women's competition, and this time we'll start with Forge. Forge Women, who is your fourth pick?
Our fourth pick is going to be Alex Kent.
The fourth pick for Forge Women is Alex Kant. She's an attacker. She's part of the current England under-23 squad and plays for Blues Lacrosse Club as well as the University of Nottingham. Next, it's Hustle Women's turn to pick. Hustle Women, please name your fourth pick.
Our fourth pick is Minty Loxton-Barden.
The fourth pick for Hustle Women is Minty Loxton-Barnard, who's a two-way midfielder who also played at Hustle for Hustle at the Fly last year, scoring 10 goals. She was also part of the England under-20 squad and plays for Durham University. Next up, Rise Women get their fourth pick. Rise, who is your fourth pick?
Our fourth pick is Hannah Whiteley.
The fourth pick for Rise Women is Hannah Whiteley. She's a midfielder who plays for Scotland internationally and represented them at the 2022 World Lacrosse Championship. And the final women's fourth pick is by Swift Women. Swift Women, please name your fourth pick.
Our fourth pick is Emily Gray.
The fourth pick for Swift Women is midfielder Emily Gray, who has extensive experience playing internationally for England. We'll now move on to our fifth round of picks for the men's teams. Up first, it's Forge Men. Forge Men, who is your fifth pick?
Our fifth pick is Sam Motorshead.
So the fifth pick for Forge Men is Sam Motorshead, played for England at the Under-20 World Championship and also plays for Cheadle Lacrosse Club. Next up, it's Swift Men. Swift Men, please name your fifth pick at the Fly 2023.
Swift Men would like to pick Matthew Goddard as their fifth pick.
The fifth pick for Swift Men is Matthew Goddard. He played for Forge at the Fly 2021 and is a goalkeeper at Stockport Lacrosse Club. And after Swift Men, it's Hustle Men. Hustle Men, who is your fifth pick?
Hustle would like to select with their fifth pick, Drew Wilkinson.
The fifth pick for Hustle Men is Drew Wilkinson, who plays for Mellor Lacrosse Club and is also in the England Academy setup. And finally, the last fifth pick in the men's competition goes to Rise Men. Rise Men, please name your fifth pick.
With the fifth pick, Rise select Josh Clegg.
The fifth pick for Rise Men is Josh Clegg, who scored 4 goals playing for Swift last year. He's just 17 years old and he's playing in the first team at Rochdale Lacrosse Club. So let's move on to our fifth round of picks for the women's teams. Up first, it's Swift Women. Swift Women, who is your fifth pick?
Fifth pick for Swift Women is goalkeeper Sienna Parek.
The fifth pick for Swift Women is Sienna Parek, who is a goalkeeper, and she's part of the England Lacrosse Talent Pathway. She also plays for New Stars and the University of Nottingham. So next, it's Rise Women. Rise Women, please name your fifth pick at the Fly 2023.
Our fifth pick is Lizzie Rutherford.
The fifth pick for Rise Women is Lizzie Rutherford. She's a defender, an England international who also plays for Durham University and came second with Durham University at the Bucks Sixes Lacrosse Championship last year. After Rise Women, it's Hustle Women. Hustle Women, can you give me your fifth pick, please?
Yeah, our fifth pick will be Harriet Mann.
The fifth pick for Hustle Women is defender Harriet Mann. She's part of the Wales squad that travelled to the World Championship last summer and also plays for Blues at club level. And finally, the last fifth pick in the women's competition goes to Forge Women. Forge Women, please name your fifth pick.
Our fifth pick is going to be Millie Cant.
The fifth pick for Forge Women is Millie Cant, a two-way midfielder who is part of the England Under-20 squad and has captained the Under-20 squad. She also plays for Centaurs and Durham University. We're now going to move on to our penultimate and sixth round of men's picks, starting with Rise Men. Rise Men, who are you choosing as your sixth pick?
Our sixth pick, we would like to select Andrew Brickle.
The sixth pick for Rise Men is Andrew Brickle, who has played for Poynton Lacrosse Club since 2017 and has also represented England at World Championship and European Championship level. Next, it's Hustle Men. Hustle Men, please name your sixth pick.
With the sixth pick, Hustle would like to select Joshua Polk.
So the sixth pick for Hustle Men is Joshua Polk, who played for Hustle in 2021. He also represented England at the Under-20 World Championships last year and has a gold medal with England at the 2019 Under-20 European Championships. Now on to Swift Men. Swift Men, can you tell us who your sixth pick is, please?
Swift men would like as their sixth pick, number 25, Glenn Humphreys, please.
The sixth pick for Swift men is Glenn Humphreys, who was a player coach for Swift last year, scoring 12 goals. He's an attacker at Rochdale Lacrosse Club and played at multiple World and European Championships for England up until 2016. And finally, the last sixth pick, it's Forge men. Forge men, who is your sixth pick?
Our sixth pick is Rob Harris.
The sixth pick for Forge men is Rob Harris. He was on the winning Rise team last year, scoring 8 goals. He's a Canadian lefty who plays for Camden Lacrosse Club. And with that, we're going to have our final round of picks in the women's competition. Up first, it's Forge women. Forge women, who's your sixth pick?
Our sixth and final draft pick is for Katie Lachowski.
The sixth pick for Forge women is Katie Lachowski. She's a two-way midfielder who played for England between 2012 and 2020 before switching allegiances to Wales in 2022. She plays her club lacrosse at Stockport. Next, it's Hustle women. Hustle women, please name your sixth pick.
Our sixth pick is Nina Sherwin.
The sixth pick for Hustle women is Nina Sherwin. She's a two-way midfielder who plays for England under 20s and also plays for Blues and Nottingham University. Now on to Rise women. Rise women, can you tell us who your sixth pick is, please?
Our sixth pick is goalkeeper Sophie Allen.
The sixth pick for Rise women is goalkeeper Sophie Allen, who played for Hustle in 2021 and was part of the Wales squad that finished 9th at the 2022 World Championship. And finally, the last pick in the women's competition goes to Swift women. Swift women, who is your sixth pick?
Sixth pick for Swift women is Lottie Robertson.
The sixth pick for Swift women is Lottie Robertson, who's an attacker and a Scotland international who currently plays her club lacrosse for Glasgow City. And just as the women's draft is completed, so is the men's with their seventh pick of the day, beginning with Forge men. Forge men, please name your final pick.
Our final pick of the 2023 draft is Brian Davies.
The seventh pick for Forge men is Brian Davies. He's a goalkeeper who played NCAA Division III lacrosse before graduating from university in 2017. He now plays his club lacrosse at Spencer Lacrosse Club. Next up, it's Swift men. Swift men, who is your seventh and final pick?
Swift men would like to pick number 3, Dan Eckersall.
The seventh pick for Swift men is attacker Dan Eckersall, who was the top scorer for Hustle at last year's The Fly competition and was second overall with 19 goals. He also played for England at the 2019 Box Lacrosse World Championships. Now on to Hustle men for their last pick. Hustle men, can you tell us your seventh pick, please?
With our seventh pick, we would like to select. Sorry. I'm just trying to get up my list. David Groves.
The final pick for Hustle men is David Groves. He scored 10 goals for Hustle at last year's competition and won gold last summer with the England box lacrosse team at the 2022 Euros. And finally, to complete the Fly 2023 draft, the seventh pick for Rise men. Rise men, who is your final pick?
Our seventh and final pick for Rise is Ed Hilditch.
The seventh pick for Rise men is Ed Hilditch, who plays his club lacrosse at Stockport and recently graduated from the University of Nottingham. So there you have it. Our women's teams have each drafted 6 players to be added to their 4 already announced, and the men's teams have added an extra 7, taking their total number of players to 10 each, including their team icons, protected players, and now drafted players. In the next few weeks, the teams will be further strengthened by 5 placed players to take the squads to their maximum number of 15 players. And with that brings the conclusion to the Fly Draft 2023.